Hi everybody, it's Carla from Casey Creates, and I've just been very excited to come and show you my most current junk journal that I created. I'm calling it Pretty as a Rose, and I had the intentions of finishing my Enchanted Forest junk journal and doing a video and maybe having you craft along with me, and I just couldn't get finished. I kept feeling like I was, you know, feeling like really not drawn to finishing it. So I thought, you know what, I'll just start a new one, start from scratch, and just work without a theme in mind. And that's what I did all weekend. And I couldn't hardly wait to come and show you what I created. So I'm going to start by showing you the back first. I use this pretty linen tea, well, it's not tea dyed, it's actually the natural color canvas tea towel, and it had tatting, so I cut some of the tatting off and used it as trim. And then the spine, I used just some shabby rose print fabric to go down the spine, and then a little piece of ribbon, rose print ribbon, fabric ribbon, and I stuck that there. And then in the front, it's tied just with a piece of this vintage trim, and the trim is a really delicate lace, and then there's a satin ribbon woven through it. And then this is the cover, and the cover is the image I got off of some free printables on Pinterest, and I just love that image. It's got music notes, and then I am kind of antiqued around the edges. And you know, looking at this, I just glued that on with a little Fabri-Tac to see if I wanted that there, but I really don't think that I like it. I think I like it just like this. But anyway, it's mounted on some avocado dyed cheesecloth, and then the corners are these little delicate pieces of lace that I cut off of one of the antique handkerchiefs that I buy from the thrift store. So that made up the cover, and then there's also some little hints of the baby rose print cotton fabric. So I've kind of got it with a little bit of a tattered, shabby chic look. And then inside the front cover, I have this vintage, it almost looks like vintage wallpaper. And then I put this little accordion pleated piece of pink linen fabric with a little bit of rickrack. And then there's some journaling cards, so you can journal on the back. And they're just little pretty vintage cards, and I think they call these a tuck spot. And then this page, I love this fabric. I got this from a skirt, and I kind of tuck this fabric into my projects whenever I can. But this is I covered a piece of craft paper and made it a pocket page. And then inside it has some tags. And then this is just a pretty little piece of rayon seam binding that is got notebook paper. Well, it's pretty pink parchment paper inside. I'm going to sew a seam in there. I forgot to do that. But anyway, this is definitely just a little extra for journaling. And the pocket's nice and loose and deep, so you can put whatever you want in there. Photos or memorabilia of any kind. And they just tuck down in there. And then this is some really pretty vintage lace trim on the edge. And then the next page is more of the other side of the craft paper. And there's a rose little belly band, and this is a satin ribbon rose that I cut off of a chiffon scarf that I got in one of my thrift store hauls. And then there's craft paper there that you can journal on. And then tucked under the belly band is just some parchment paper, copy paper, that opens up for more journaling. And I just embellished it with a little bit of lace trim right here. And then this one is a canvas covered page where I just took some canvas and sewed it onto the page. And then this is a remnant of a doily. And I love how junk journals you can use your little bits. And so these are just leftover remnants, and this is some crocheted lace trim that I put around the top. And it's just there to tuck more tags. This is another rose print tag, and you can journal on the back. And it can fit more tags as well. I didn't want to overstuff it because I really don't like when the journals don't close. I love this page because I like the faint little floral and leaf print on the paper. This is a paper envelope, and I put a teeny bit of Velcro there so that it'll close. And I trimmed it with some vintage tatting lace and a little organza ribbon and lace in the middle. And then this envelope pulls out. It looks like an envelope, but it's really a faux envelope. So it opens all the way up for journaling. And then I sewed on some pretty floral applique. And then there's some more of the vintage lace trim and a little rosette. And that tucks down under that one. And I forgot what they call it when they put the piece of fabric here. It's a little flip piece of fabric that's eyelet lace trim. And when you flip it over, there's some tea-stained paper and a pretty little white butterfly applique. And some more vintage trim. And then a page just for journaling. Excuse me. And then our next page is just another page where I put a little fabric cutout, floral cutout, and then some tea-stained paper for journaling. And I like this page too. It's craft paper, but it's also a brown paper bag. And this brown paper bag, I have a whole bag here of extra tags. So I'm just going to show you. Let's see. Like, for instance, you can tuck a little tag down in this flap of the brown paper bag, and then you can also open the brown paper bag and put tags or memorabilia in there. But you can also flip it up and journal on the back of the bag, and you can journal on the craft paper. And if you wanted, you could even tuck some more tags underneath there. So this is another little craft paper one. I like adding the natural colors with the really pretty colors, and this is some burlap trim on the edge. This next page is a dictionary page, and I put a little tuck spot here of note paper, and I just printed some pretty image paper on the brown parchment, and then it flips down. And there's 2 pages, so you can journal on both of those pages. And then you can just tuck them right back under the little satin rose flower. In this next page, I took a piece of scrapbook paper that I loved but only had 1 sheet of, and copied it onto some iron-on transfer, and then transferred it onto fabric. So this is a fabric page. I love this print. And then I put more of that burlap trim and a little rosette. And the pocket is nice and loose again, so you could tuck quite a few, tags or note paper in there if you wanted to. And then I've got some vintage tatting on this edge and some eyelet lace trim on this edge, which carries over to this page, which is just plain with tea-dyed paper for journaling. And then this page, just some embossed rose, like vintage roses on tea-dyed paper for journaling, and then a little tab covered with lace on top. And then I have a set of pages that are kind of dedicated to my love for fairies I was using different colors and spraying them on lace applique, and it gave us that little silhouette of the applique. And then I've got this pretty butterfly tag, which was in my entry that I received from Avril over at Popsy's Ribbon and Lace, and it's got wonderful sparkly glitter on it, so I thought it was perfect to go in my journal, just to represent a little bit of the fairy theme. And then I showed this handkerchief, which is a vintage handkerchief chiffon, and I decoupaged it onto the paper, and then there's some journaling space there. I really like how you can decoupage this light fabric. And then the next page, you can still see the trim from the handkerchief, but then this is a bit of a cutout from a napkin that I also decoupaged onto the tea stained paper. And then this is an envelope that I decoupaged in a really pretty flower tissue paper, and it just tucks under that bright red satin ribbon rose. And I had already sewn my little signatures in, but I really wanted to add this envelope. So I've got a strip of the fabric from this page. I trimmed it down to fit the book, and then I had that little strip left, so I discovered that I could just stitch that in and add the envelope. So I was happy that I could do that, and then it just opens up and you can add tags or paper for journaling right into the envelope. So I really love how that turned out. And there's this space that's got some really pretty floral print tissue paper, and I've received this tissue paper in a few entries in my last couple challenges, and I love it. I can't find it anywhere, so I saved the scraps and decoupaged it on, and then I cut out a rose to be a little more prominent on the page. And so I really like this page too. The next page just has a little bit of an applique. I don't know if you can see the sequins sparkling a little bit. It's just for journaling, some tea-dyed paper there. And then this is the other fairy page with a little bit of the image from the applique. And then the colorful sprays. And then there's a little swatch of fabric with pink roses and a sparkly flower tab. And then this last page is a napkin that I decoupaged on, and it's flower fairies. And then this little space you can journal on. And I noticed in a lot of the journal videos I watch, they paperclip embellishments and beads and things, and I just haven't gotten that fussy with it yet. I really wanted to make sure this journal was functional for journaling, but you know, I'll probably start thinking about hanging charms and paper clipping things on as well. This is a vintage page with some really pretty coffee colored lace, and then it's got this really pretty soft velvet strip, and this is a vellum little pocket with gold flowers, roses, and it's on tea-dyed paper, and you could journal here if you wanted to. And then I've got this little vintage tag with lace, and it's on craft paper. You can journal on the back of that. And then this can just slip down in the pocket. And it's a loose pocket as well, so you could fit several tags in there if you wanted to. And then this page is tea-dyed paper again with some paper doilies. And I sort of glued them down the spine, but I left them a little loose. So I thought it'd be kind of fun if you journal underneath all the way across, and then the doily will cover up a little bit of the journaling. And so these are two tea-dyed pages for journaling, and then some eyelid lace trim here on the side that carries over to another page for journaling. And this is that vintage eyelid lace trim that I recently got at a haul. And then this is some more floral fabric that I've covered, And it's got a belly band on it, and you can tuck your tags right under there, like so. Oops, there we go. So you can put things in there. And then it's got more of that burlap trim. It's because I really like the rustic natural with the pretty delicate. I love this lace. This is a vintage corded lace. And I mounted it on some tea-dyed paper. And I just like the shabby kind of irregular edges on it. And you can just tuck your tags right down in there like that. So it's kind of a shabby little pocket there. But you could also journal a little bit here if you wanted to. And then this next one has a little flip spot of the parchment. You can open it and journal on that. And you can journal on that. And then this is just another page with some of the floral ribbon, cotton ribbon, and some journaling space with the tea-dyed paper. And more of that vintage eyelet lace trim that carries over here. And then this is some more dictionary paper. This is handcrafted paper. I didn't make it, but I used it. It's really soft. And then you can tuck tags down into that pocket. And then we're at the last page with more of the same scrapbook paper that I put on the front cover here. And I think this lends itself to some pocket of some sort, but I haven't decided if I'm going to put anything on it or not. I almost just like keeping it plain. But we can flip through again. So this is the front cover with that beautiful vintage image and on note paper, music note paper. And then the tuck spot with the journaling cards and the vintage floral fabric that's a pocket, and this one with the rosette and the belly band, and this one with the vintage doily scrap belly band on canvas. And these are the paper pockets and envelopes that open. And then this is a little fabric flap that you can turn over and journal. More journaling space. Brown paper bag and craft paper with little pockets and tuck spots. Dictionary paper. Note paper. Fabric pocket. And eyelet lace trim. Journaling space with eyelet lace trim. Some embossed flowers. The fairy pages. Vintage handkerchief page. The fairy page. Decoupage envelope. And journaling page. Little applique page and a fairy page. And flower fairy page. Vintage page with the vellum. And the paper doily pages for journaling. Fabric belly band page. And the vintage lace page with the pretty floral tag. A little flip corner for journaling. Ribbon rose page. A rose ribbon. Journaling space. And another vintage page with the eyelet lace trim and the dictionary page pocket. So thank you for indulging me while I showed you my latest creation. I had so much fun making this. I'm gonna look forward to finishing my Enchanted Forest one. Maybe that was all the motivation I needed was to get one completely finished. Um, but I appreciate you watching. Tell me what you think, and I will come back again with another project. As a matter of fact, I'm working on a upcycled boho satchel bag. So I'll show you what I've done after I finish that. But you all have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon. Bye.